team. Before I introduce Frank, I want to do something real quick, Crystal, if you don't mind. Because one thing agents ask, what leads do we buy? What leads do we buy? I want to share something with you, and I want you to see it for yourself because it has not gotten any easier. I mean, it's gotten easier and easier when it comes to this business and buying leads. Well, I want to show you how simple it is, and I'm gonna let Frank talk about when he got in, when he got involved with FFL 13 years ago. He was one of the original agents. But if y'all can see my screen, we got all different types of leads. We got final expense, veterans, we got mortgage, we got IUS. Look, I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm just gonna click mortgage leads. Now, if you can see my screen, we're gonna blow it up just a little bit. You see the cost. Let's just say I wanted 50 mortgage leads, $2,150. All right. I'm gonna go down to pay. See this right here? Affirm. You can pay over 6 to 36 months to get the leads. Klarna, you can pay from 3 to 24 months to get the leads. Afterpay, you can pay between 6 and 12 months to get the leads. Now, team, I know some of you, and I know y'all know some people that have bought concert tickets on Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. We're talking about getting a stack of leads, and this is just mortgage. I'm just picking on mortgage. But every lead, you could do a firm where you got a year and a half to make payments. So if it's 800, if it's $1,000 or 1,200, could you pay $100 over 12 months? Go out, get the leads, make 3 or 4 sales, make the $3,000 and pay that off early. Could you not do a firm and pay 4 interest payments of 322 or over 2 years and pay it off and get the leads? Could you not do Afterpay and pay 4 payments of 322 or spread it out over 12 months and get the leads? So when agents say, well, I don't have money for leads, could you not do a firm, Klarna, or Afterpay? When I got involved 5 years ago, we spent $60 on 25 leads, and we prayed that the leads would pick up the phone. We're talking about spreading out over 3 years. I wouldn't do that. But spread over 12 months to a year and a half, interest free now. They give you the leads, and you pay them monthly, $50 a week, $50 a month, $100 a month. But you got 50 leads and you sign up 6 families, and you make $6,000. Could you not pay that off and do it again? And pay it off and do it again? And pay it off and do it again? I wanted to show this because I say the agents like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I know for a fact, I know some people who have bought Beyonce tickets on Klarna after paying a firm. But they had to see the queen. So they spread out that $5,000 floor seat over 3 years to get an experience, not make money. So I wanted to show that to you. This is where we get leads. It can't get any easier than what I just shared with you. If you don't understand, just hit me up after the Zoom. Go up there. You say, well, Kendall, I got bad credit. Well, they're not even really worried about your credit. They do a little soft check. It's not even really a credit check. So could you not do that and get leads? So I just want to share that, Crystal. Hopefully, I was like, I got to show it because well, I remember buying leads from a vendor and get the leads. And we talking about spread it out over 36 months, y'all, like a car payment. And if you do 12 months, there's no interest. Or 18 months, there's no interest. So I'm gonna just leave it there. But what I want to do now is I want to introduce the gentleman that is one of the first to get offered the integrity deal. Frank is a guru when it comes to mortgage protection. He also is a master closer when it comes to the annuity game. He knows the annuities, how to find the money. But he was here from the beginning. Like he was here when Sean Mike decided to start FFL. He had his soldiers, his people, and they went out. And I think that first year did $11 million just with 12 to 13 agents. that first year and then exploded from that. So Frank has seen it change. He's seen it go from, paying $55 for or $80 for a mortgage lead to barely having any lead vendors to filling out paper applications to send to the carriers to then taking 6 weeks to get your first carrier. And then back when FFL only had one carrier, one, y'all, just one. America, that's all they had. So Frank has seen it change, and I know he gets excited every time. His agency is doing $4.6 million a month, y'all. Roughly 50 to $60 million a year. His agency will be at like close to $10 million a month, probably by the end of the year. So we're talking about having $100 million business, and we have the pleasure of having him as our mentor, our upline. And I just want to thank him and Jamie for what they do, and then take your time to get on our call. So Frank, without further ado, I want you to bless the team with some nuggets that you think can help us grow, because we want to be a big portion of national when you go to that $10 million mark. So Frank, it's all your floor. It's all you, man.
Well, thank you, Kendall, for having me on. First of all, it's always an honor to do this stuff. Even after 15 years of being in the business, 11, 12 years with Family First Life, it's humbling because I remember where I was at when this deal started. And I remember where I was at just 5, 6 years ago after being in the business for 8, 9 years and starting to see that the fruit of that work. And so to do this, I'm always excited and happy to do it. And it's funny, people start talking about what it was like when Family First Life started, and we start going through the stories of some of the stuff we went through and dealt with, and it's it it's funny now, but back then it sucked. And when I say it sucked, like it sucked. We had one carrier, obviously Kendall just said that, we had America. We had no leads when we started. We didn't have a CRM. We didn't know what we were doing. And then a month after we left the company we started Family First Life from, they sued us. So on top of having one carrier, no leads, no CRM, not knowing what we were doing, we also had a $10,000 to $15,000 legal bill every month that we had to pay. And people go like, "How did you do it?" You outwork any situation you want to or need to if you really want to. See, I didn't have a plan B. I went to school for a semester. I said, "This sucks. I'm not doing that." I played spades, Kendall, the entire semester of school, and I made more money playing spades than most people make at their jobs. And I had a little, and I took a course called Beatles Mania because I sold weed, and I'm like, hell, what better place to sell weed than in a music class in college? So I like went to one class every week, get rid of my supply. Then I went to the cafeteria and played spades. That was it. And my dad said, if you fail school, you better have a job. So then I got a job before I told him I failed out of college, and that was plumbing. And it was cool. Like I didn't mind it. We were big stuff like 6-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch steel pipe. I was playing with blow torches and welding machines. And that was fun for a while, and it paid okay. Like, okay, if you're going to have a job, I guess. But then I fell through a skylight 20 feet and broke my back. And when I got back to work, so I fell through a skylight on Friday. I went, they took me to the hospital because I was 19, 18. I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital. They took me. Then I made them release me. I went home, drank all weekend because I was young and stupid. Then I went back to work on Monday with a broken back. And then after a week, I was like, I can't do this. So then I went out and got treated, all this stuff. Then I came back and they had me doing like, instead of playing with a blowtorch and welding machines, I was playing with a little torch and just 1/2-inch pipe. And I was like, this really stinks. It's not fun. So my neighbor at that time was in the mortgage business, was like, hey, you should try and do what I do. I'm like, okay. So I got into the mortgage business at 20. Um, and that's where I met Jamie. We did that for a while, started a mortgage company. And in 2008, the mortgage business completely went crazy. The rates went up, the banks were closing left and right. And we lost everything we had. I mean, and at 26, we had, $1 million house and all the stuff people would want. And we lost it inside of 4 months. I didn't have a trade. Like I could have gone back to plumbing, but I didn't want to do that. Like I'm sorry. It's just, I felt like I was more than that. I didn't have a college degree. Mortgages were no good. Jamie found insurance. I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. And in the beginning, we were so bad because here's the difference. I call Kendall. Kendall, I call you and go, hey, bro, I think I could probably save you a couple $100 a month on your mortgage payment. What are you going to say?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now I call Kendall and go, hey, buddy, you want to spend a couple $100 on a life insurance policy?
Nah, man, I'm good on that.
Nah, man, I'm good. So we didn't know how to make that correlation of find the need, identify it, sell it based off of value because we were used to order taking. That's all the mortgage business was. So when people come in to me and go, I'm in the mortgage business, I'm a great salesman, I'm like, bullshit, you're not. Selling is actually finding the need, identifying what that need is, showing your client, your potential client, the value, and then making sure that the value exceeds the price, then they'll buy. And they got to like you and trust you. We got beat up for the first year, year and a half. And by the way, we were at a 55% comp. So it's like when I hear people complaining about anything, I'm just like, I tend to, back in the day when I was, younger in this business, I would blow up because perspective's everything to me. And when I look at what we have now and compared to what we had back then, and I see the amount of people that made it from back then, none of us are special. We just didn't quit and we worked really hard. So I got family who none of them are self-employed. They all have jobs. My mom and dad had jobs. My dad was successful, but he was still at a job. And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get on a call. They're like, on Mother's Day. I'm like, hell, I'd do this on Christmas if Crystal asked me. Because y'all do that much. Kendall and Crystal do so much for us. I do it on Christmas. I do it on New. I would do it whenever they ask me. I do it on my birthday, on Jamie's birthday, because this is what we do. But that's the mindset of being self-employed: is do whatever it takes, whenever it takes, as long as it takes. I think people get that last part confused. It's I'll do whatever it takes for a little bit, and if I'm not seeing the returns I think I should see, then I either quit, start complaining, and then once you start complaining, you're going to quit. If you ever read the Bible, it says faith the size of a mustard seed. That's as much doubt as you need, by the way, also. So if you get a batch of leads and you start thinking these probably aren't going to be any good, guess what? They're not going to be any good. If you get that same batch of leads and give them to Kendall or Crystal, the thing they're thinking is, hell, these leads are fire and they're going to make sales. And it's crazy to me how true that is, that you can control the outcome before it even happens just by a little thought. And it's so crazy and sad at the same time because y'all don't realize how strong this is. If we could get over that, man, this becomes so easy. And I think that's the biggest thing that Sean taught all of us throughout everything we went through. We got started, we had three carriers, Kendall, but then two of them fired us, terminated us. And Sean called, he's like, I got some good news and bad news. I was like, give me my dessert first. He's like, we still got Americo. I'm like, I'm taking it. We lost, it was Life of the Southwest, and I don't remember the other company. Life of the Southwest, another company. I was like, I'm taking, we don't have them anymore. He's like, yeah, they terminated us. He's like, I'm not sure if Americo is going to do that either, but if they do, we'll find something else to do tomorrow. I was like, all right, good. I hung up the phone. I didn't even tell Jamie because I knew he had it under control. We got sued. He's like, dude, we got sued. We all knew it was coming. We didn't all know it was coming. He knew it was coming. We might have thought maybe, possibly, hoping it wasn't. No big deal. We'll get through it. When COVID hit, he's like, it's just a cold. Keep moving. Like, there's nothing that happens in this business that is ever that serious. Because if you think about it, every day there's a kid that's getting diagnosed with cancer. There's a husband that loses a wife that loses a husband, a child that loses a parent. Something crazy goes on in people's lives every single day. So when we get upset about getting hung up on or getting no-showed or getting no's all day, it's like, seriously? The greatest book I ever read is called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. It's all about perspective. I think perspective is such a big deal in this business because you can look at every situation and either learn from it, run from it, cry about it. But if you learn from everything you go through in this business, man, it just becomes so easy. And we're at the point now, and Kendall's getting there, and Crystal's getting there, where it's like, this is so simple. There's no, like, when I say zero doubt in their mind that they know this works. Zero. And when you get to that point, you're dangerous. Zero, right? Because it's just a numbers game. 50 leads will get you $50,000 a month in premium. How much is 50 grand a month worth to you? $2,000 a week. is a little less than $2,000 a month. If you do 2,000 times 52 divided by 12, it's like $1,800. $1,800. I'm sorry, $8,800. $8,800 a month to make to deposit 40, 35. Okay, let's call it 30. 30 minus 8 is is $22,000. Do you know many people that make 22 grand a month? There aren't many out there. You're already in the top 20%. Actually, you're in the top. If you make 250 grand a year, you're in the top 10% in the country in income. So when Kendall's talking about you buy leads now and pay later, you can put leads on layaway. That's just crazy. You can buy leads now and pay later to potentially make 30, 40, 20, 50 grand in a month. Are we kidding right now? That's the one thing that we never got wrong. And it's because I listened to the mentor I had saying there are three things that make or break you in this business: lead flow, schedule, and phone script. Those three things are the top three things. Someone calls me and they're having trouble, I can identify it's one of those three things all the time. And it's usually lead flow. If you have really good lead flow, well, your schedule's good because you have to work. You're not going to not work if you're buying leads. And if you have good lead flow and you're a good schedule, you'll get going. You might not come out the gate good on the phone, but give it 3 months, give it 6 months, give it a year. Dude, people will spend 4 years of their life sitting in a classroom, getting taught a profession by someone that isn't even doing that profession, spend $250,000 for them to give you a little certificate saying you graduated college, and then go start off a job making 60 grand a year. When I'm asking you for 12 months, all in, no questions asked, keep a positive mindset, keep working, keep your head down, keep grinding. And if you just get over that hump, there's no way in the world you make less than $250,000 a year. There's no way in the world. This is just too easy. If you called 64 random people and they answered and go, hey, you want to buy life insurance? 1 out of 64 will say yes. We're calling leads. Hell, you could call 1 out of 64 people and never buy leads if you want to sit on the phone for 16 hours a day, and you'd still make 250 grand a year. This is the greatest business I've ever seen. It doesn't matter if the market's good. It doesn't matter if the market's bad. People always need life insurance. And when the market's bad, annuities are easier to sell. When the market's good, annuities are easy to sell. Why? If it's bad, they're tired of losing money. If it's good, they're afraid they're going to lose money. Everybody knows they're going to die. They don't know when. Stories sell. I'm excited because of what we have. I had to sit in a car, drive to appointments. I could only get to 7, 8 appointments running in Baltimore City, maybe, because traffic, by the time I went one house, the other house, between, 8 in the morning to 10 in the morning was rush hour morning traffic. I had from 10 to 2 to get an hour in between every appointment. And then from 2 on, had to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, because a 20-minute drive could take 45 minutes to an hour rush hour. So we could only see so many people. Dude, we're all virtual. You guys could do 15, 16, 17 presentations in a day. You don't even need to work 7 days a week, but I would. We worked 7 days a week for 2010 to 2016, 17, 6, 7 days a week every week without fail. It didn't stop because I knew what I was going after. See, I think if we identify what our goals are, what are we going after? Why are we going after it? It can't be, I want to buy a house. It can't be, I want to buy a car. That will get you there, but then you'll stop. It's got to be bigger than that. I wanted to give my kids a life they could only dream of. I wanted to take care of my sister, who is a single mom, whose husband left 18 years ago, hasn't looked back at her 3 children. I wanted to be able to do for my parents. I wanted to be able to retire Jamie's mom. I wanted to be able to leave a legacy. I wanted to be able to give away 6 figures to charities and churches every single year without fail. That's something I can keep working at. If it's, I want to buy this car, I want to buy this house, I get that house, and then what? Then you slow down. Dude, we're still rolling. I work as much now as I've ever worked, and I have money because the goal and the dream is so much bigger. Now I still want to do all that stuff that I'm doing, but I also want to see Kendall do it, Crystal do it, Mike do it, Jesse do it, Dean do it. I want to see everybody that I care about that I'm watching work so hard be able to do exactly what we've been able to do. So this is such a good opportunity if y'all would just grasp it and have no fear. And I don't know how to teach people not to have fear that have fear. Kendall, you're a sports guy. You know, one of the greatest things I ever watched was Joe Flacco in the year he won the Super Bowl when they were trying to lock him down with a contract. And he's like, nope, nope, nope. I'm going to wait till we win the Super Bowl. Nope. That fool bet on himself more than anybody I've ever seen. He don't win the Super Bowl, he ain't getting paid. That fool won the Super Bowl, had the largest quarterback contract in NFL history at that time. He bet on himself. Dude, buying leads is just betting on yourself. And it's like you don't have to be able to throw a football. You don't have to dunk a basketball. You don't have to run really fast or jump really high. You just got to be able to work really hard, control your emotions, be nice to people, and have a forgetful mindset. When someone yells at you, cusses you out, you forget about them immediately. Just move on. So, dude, I can hit on anything you want me to hit on, and I could go on this for an hour. But I want to respect what y'all need me to talk about. So what is it I can help you guys figure out or talk about that might change some lives tonight?
Hey, you know what, Frank? It's so funny. I believe that God definitely works in mysterious ways. So this past week, we do a morning mindset, and I talked about the top four things that are in the way. The top four things are fear, doubt, bad habits, and excuses. And I love the fact that you hopped on fear. Like that's definitely in the way. So let's talk about the other ones. What are some of the bad habits that you see agents do? That
Yep.
is that puts them in their own way.
Dude, that's such a good question. And it's something that we don't, there's a lot of things we don't talk about enough. And I think this is obviously one of them. Two of the biggest bad habits I see agents may or do or develop is one, they start making money and then they take their foot off the gas because they've never made 10, 15, 20 grand in a month. They're used to making 5 grand a month. They made 20. They've made more in one month than you would make in 4 months. So they're not working as hard as they should work because hey, they got their bills covered for the next 4 months. And then what happens is you get a charge back, and then you decide to go back to work, and you have a bad week, and then doubt sets in, right? And then it's just a downhill or a downward spiral from there. So my whole deal is, dude, live the way you've been living before you started doing this business. If you're living off of 5 grand a month, live off of 5 grand a month for the next 12 months. Can you give me a year of not acting like you make money and just keep the budget that you've had and keep working as hard as you have to? Our goal was 10 grand a week, die or die, 10 grand a week or die. So if I wrote 20 this week, as soon as Thursday came, because it was lead, I mean, numbers went from Thursday to Wednesday. As soon as Thursday morning came, I was at zero again. 10K a week or die, 10K a week or die, 10K a week or die. So so that's one is they start getting paid and they stop working as hard as they should, or they had a really big, day one, day two, day three of the week, and then they don't work as hard as they should day four, five, and six. And here's why you have to do that. You have a really big first 2 days. Let's just say you submit $13,000 your first 2 days of the week. You have to grind like you are at zero still for the next 5 days of the week because next week you might have 3, 4, 5 bad days in a row. See, the big weeks, if you can make them huge, they cover up the not so great weeks. And listen, this is sales. You're going to have a not so great week. But when you explode, when you like, I like to gamble. If y'all don't know me, I bet every single day of my life I'm betting on some sports game, like something every day. I'm degenerate, and it's not a problem because I don't lose anymore, but it's an expensive lesson. When you're playing blackjack, is anybody you know how to play blackjack, Crystal? Okay. You ever heard the word heater? When you go on a heater, it's like the dealer's busting, you're popping 20s, 21s. Dude, when I'm on a heater on the blackjack table, I'm dumping chips. Like instead of betting 50, $100 a hand, I'm betting four, five, $600 a hand. I am piling it on. When you're on a heater in the field or on the phone virtually in day one and two, dude, keep that heater going because eventually the deck's going to flip and then the dealer's going to be hot, which means eventually you're going to have a day or two stretch where people are telling you no, or you're getting bad conversations, or people are getting declined. You're not closing. So when you're hot, dude, pour the gasoline on the fire. You got a little bit of a spark, pour it on. That will that will help you overcome those slower days and slower weeks that you may have and that you will have coming down the road. That's number one. Number two is schedule. You get in a habit of not treating your schedule like you work for a Fortune 500 company. A guy I worked with a long time ago told me you have to treat this thing like you work at Google. Like you can, it's if you get a job at Google, you're something. Like they don't hire every time they can hire. You're special. You get a job at Google. You probably graduated from like MIT. It's a big deal. You got to schedule at Google. You got to be in it whatever time it is. You got to stay to whatever time it's done or to whenever the job's done. And you might get like 3 personal days a year. You might get a 1 week's vacation, but probably not when you first start. Most companies don't give you a week's vacation until you're there at least a year or two. Dude, why can't we do that? So agents start getting in a habit of sacrificing their schedule for certain things. And for me, my schedule never got sacrificed. And people will try in the beginning when your friends, your family realize you're self-employed. There's some people ask you the craziest shit. Hey, can you help me move on Tuesday? I'm like, who in the hell moves on a Tuesday? And no, I can't help you move. Like what? Hey, can we drop the kids off? I'm my nanny called out. I'm like, no, I got to work. What is wrong with you? But we get in the habit of doing that, and then once you do it a time or two, once you sacrifice your schedule a time or two, it becomes easier and easier and easier. Dude, my schedule's do or die, and for a good 8-9 years, people knew my schedule. They didn't ask me to do anything during the week. They didn't ask me to do anything on my dial days. They really didn't even call me. They would call me on a Friday night and go, "Hey, you working this weekend?" Yep, I'm working tomorrow. You working Sunday too? You want to play golf? Maybe, because if I didn't hit my number on Sunday, I was dialing to run again Saturday, I was dialing to run again on Sunday. So that's the two, I think, biggest bad habits I see people fall into is they start spending money too fast. They don't put it away. They jeopardize their schedule because they're not taking it serious as they should be. Because if you lived, eat, sleep, and breathe this job, this deal for 2 years, you can set yourself up to live a beautiful life. I can work right now from wherever I want. I still go to the office because I don't like working from my house, but I can work from my beach house. I can work from my yacht. I can work from anywhere. And like, yeah, I said beach house. I said yacht. I got a 44-foot yacht. I got a beach house. I got a house. I can do that. I can work from freaking Italy. I did work from Italy last year. This Mother's Day last year, I was in Italy working. So, dude, but you got to sacrifice. It's a get rich scheme. It's not a get rich quick scheme. You know what I mean? It's a grind, and the grind sucks. You know it, Crystal. There are days that you don't want to get out of that bed and get on the phone. You just have to do it.
Yeah, you more than answer my question. Thank you. And yeah, I don't want to get out the bed. I tell this to the team all the time. But it's
Right?
the sacrifice. I'm making the sacrifice, right? And I see it. So,
That's right.
but it can't come from me. It need to come from you. It need to come from somebody else sometimes, right?
I had a conversation with my brother. My brother's 2 years younger than me, and he's seeing the wins. But he said, man, for the first 2 years, you work 7 days a week. Like you ain't take no time off. And if you did take time off, it's like nobody knew. You did like, I'm gonna go get a hotel down the street and work, and then I'm gonna still run appointments. He said, I just watched you. And the funny thing about it, I didn't buy anything. I was still driving my dad's truck that I got because he passed away. I ain't had no car payment. I drove his truck. I blew the transmission in it. Then I started borrowing my mom's car, driving her car to appointments. My mom, I probably put 30,000 miles on my mom's car. So it was like I sacrificed a lot because I knew I wanted to be in a certain position. I never felt comfortable because I always felt like it could go backwards. And I'm glad I made those sacrifices because
Right.
I didn't go out and buy crazy. I started gradually doing little things and upgraded, but it's because of those 2 years of straight 7 days a week hustling when people thought I was crazy that I can kind of do different things now.
That's funny because people do look at you like you're crazy. People look at you like you're crazy. And it's funny now, all those people that looked at me and Jamie like we were crazy, are looking at us like, wow, like I get it. I see what they were working for. I see why they worked so hard. I see why they missed all this stuff. And it's true, man. It's a patient game. If you just have the patience to keep doing the right things, the reward definitely comes. It's the best example I can ever give is there's like a little meme where a guy's digging and it's like four pictures. He's digging a hole. The next picture, the hole's a little deeper. The third picture, it's super deep. The fourth picture, I'm sorry, the third picture, it's super deep. And like this much more deep, you see like all these diamonds. And then the next picture, you see him climb out of the hole. Like he gave up and he was this close away from the breakthrough. And that's this. Like, you remember when you have that breakthrough and it's like, oh my gosh, I get it. And once that happens, it's a wrap because there's nothing that can prevent you from winning in this business once you understand it the way we understand it.
Frank, can we talk about, we talked about schedule.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how important it is to plug in
Yeah.
to the team? Like people plug into our team and we funnel everybody to the national call.
Yeah.
So how important it is not to be that agent out there on the island by yourself.
So here's how I always describe people's schedule. So like I got this little tin right here and I'm gonna put things in this tin to maximize what's in this bucket, right? I would put the big things in. Like I got this, I put this in, and I would put like this in. Okay. This would be like the team calls. This is my self-growth, the stuff that I need. Read your Bible, meditate, grow yourself. That's big. The other big thing would be your appointment setting, right? Your phone time. Those are your massive two things, right? Then you got your other little things you go in here, like this is a little bit smaller. So like we'll throw this thing in the bucket. I would fill all my little things. Like that would be check and pending, reaching out to your agents, because you should reach out to your agents weekly, if not daily. Put all those little things. And then the last thing I would pour in would be like sand, right? The little tiny things. That would be anything that's not as important. So that might be, hanging out with my friends or catching a game or stuff like that. So, dude, if you fill your schedule with the most important big blocks first, your appointments, your dials, your phone time, your self development, which are all the calls, because you should be plugged into the call on Monday, the builders call, like you guys said, the team call on Monday night, the SRS call on Thursday, this call on Sunday. And there's a few other calls you guys can plug into as well. Those go in right there with your phone time. So your phone time goes from 8 a.m. to noon on Monday. And once noon hits, it's the builder's call. You're on the builder's call. And then you're back on the phone until 6 p.m. That's the national call, right? So you put that stuff in first because it's that important. And I've been doing this now for 15 years, and I don't miss anything. I'm on every builder's call. I run the SRS call. I'm on that call. I'm on the Monday night call. I'm on Sean's call Friday at noon where he does Q&A. If he does an event, I'm there. I'm at every national convention. I'm at every regional convention, the Ignite convention. There's one coming up in Arizona. Then we'll have one in Palm Beach in October. So I'll be there. So you can never learn enough. The minute you think you know it all, dude, you're done. If Kimberly, you ever see me not getting on calls, not trying to grow and learn, dude, you should ask for a transfer. Because that means I think I know more than everybody else. I don't need any help, and then we'll hit that ceiling. We'll all stop growing. That 5 million, 4.8 million we do will go down to 1 million, and eventually you'll go down to 100,000, and you won't see me anymore. So, dude, it's so important because it's constantly changing from scripts, from tips, from products, lead flow. It's always changing. The basics don't change. That's your schedule, like from dial to the time you get up. I always say 10, 15 presentations a day and $400, something along those lines. It wasn't or. So when I was in the field, it was 2 apps a day and 7 appointments. So if I ran my first 2 apps in a day, I wasn't going to cancel my next 5 appointments. It was to end. So you do that stuff and you plug into everything. Plus you're with a team. Like, dude, there was nothing better than being on a team when you were young in sports, in high school. And, being on a team was everything. Dude, we got the greatest team at Family First Life, bar none. And I know that because I've been here since day one. I'm watching what's going on in the company. I'm seeing all these other groups go, hey, can we plug into what y'all have? Can we plug in with y'all, because y'all got Crystal and Kendall, and y'all got Jesse, and y'all got File, y'all got Dean and Depot. Can we plug into what you guys have? Because what you have seems to be working. Why would you want to do this alone? Dude, I wanted to quit a million times. I just never said it out loud. And Jamie wanted to quit a million times, just never said it out loud. But we definitely told each other a bunch of times that it sucked. And we never thought it sucked the same day. And here's the beautiful part about being on a team. When you have strong leadership like y'all have, dude, you can call Kendall and Kendall be like, I feel you. I got you. Get over it. Let's move. I've been there. It's definitely nothing that you can't not handle because he's been there. There's nothing he's going to go through that you ain't going to be able to go through as well. There's nothing he's going to go through at where his volume is now that myself, Mike, Jamie, or Sean hasn't already gone through, because we've been there. And the problems are the same in every step along the way as the bigger you get. But if you're not plugging in and you don't build relationships, you can't ask these people. If I didn't build relationships at the company we started at, I would have never met Sean, and I wouldn't be standing here today. The best relationship I ever developed in this business was meeting Sean Mike and following that fool. Anywhere he went, I put some miles on my car, bro, because I couldn't afford to fly. I would drive to Connecticut, and then the next week I would drive to Raleigh, and then the following week I would drive to Columbus, Ohio. I was all over the place just so I could get around him, because I knew what he was trying to build was worth following. And y'all, I see that in y'all, and y'all should see that in your leaders, because they work their asses off, and that's all you can ask for. They're in the fight with you. It's not like they're sitting up on a high horse, not working, telling y'all what to do. No, they're grinding. That's easy to follow. So you should want to. And if you don't, okay, I'm not going to say you're going to fail, but it's just going to be a lot harder on you. And that day when you want to quit and you're by yourself and you break down and you do say it out loud, and it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So that's how I feel about plugging in. It's everything.
You said you don't know how many miles I put on my car following that fool. I just want to unpack that for a second, because we gotta understand where you were. You literally locked arms with someone because his vision was so big and you could see yourself in that vision with no evidence behind it. That's why
None.
you said I had to follow this fool, right? Now let me bring you back 15 years till today. Today, we follow you because we know what you've done. We've seen your track record. We follow Mike because we know what he's done. We've seen the track record. We follow Sean because we know what he's done. We've seen the track record. I think it's really amazing and almost a little biblical. You got to have faith, because if you don't have faith, you literally prove to us that you can have all the numbers in the world and people still won't follow you. It blows my mind. So you got the documentation and people still want to doubt. You didn't have the documentation and people still wanted to doubt.
Yeah.
What was the difference? The difference was right here and right here. Yep. That's it. It's perspective, right? It's
yeah,
the way
sure.
you bought it and you brought it. I'm grateful for you. And yes, we are on the best team. National is the best team. You know where we came from. So we are extremely, and we ain't gonna talk about that, but I'm just gonna throw it out there.
You're right where you're supposed to be. Everything happens for a reason. And it's funny, when Sean called me in August in 2012 and said, bro, so Sean and I had gotten pretty close over a 2-year period. He would stay at my house when he did meetings and stuff, and our kids knew each other. We had traveled a few times. And he was going through a divorce. So he calls me, he goes, hey, I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, why can't I do this on my own? And I'm like, I thought he was talking about like his marriage. I'm like, bro, it'll get easier. You spend a few months away and the kids will get settled. And he's like, I ain't gonna repeat what he said word for word because we're on a call. He goes, no, you idiot. Why can't I start my own IMO? I was like, I don't know. You probably can. He's like, I am. I was like, I'm in. That's how that conversation went. Just like that. I hung up the phone, walked inside, said, babe, we're leaving NAA. We're following Sean. She goes, okay. We had everything on the line. Like, we were just getting back to making money after we lost everything 3 years ago. I mean, everything. And she said, without even blinking, okay. So we could have went and sold ping pong balls. I'd have been all in. Because that fool, one, he never lied to me. He was always honest. And B, he always told me what I needed to hear, not what he thought I wanted to hear. And for me, I could get behind that because I knew the advice he was giving me was in my best interest, not his. And the problem in this business a lot of times is when you're not, people always ask me, what's the biggest key to growing a massive business? Dude, you got to sell. Dude, I was always number one on my team in sales, always. So when someone asked me a question, they couldn't go, well, he's only telling me that because he wants my override. I didn't need your override, by the way. And I have no problem telling people that. Like, Tonto, I don't need your override. I make enough. If you haven't noticed, I sell 500 grand a year. Dude, my bills are paid. If you want to do that, or even half of that, this is what you need to do. So I think a lot of it comes down to, yes, I had faith in Sean and his vision, but I just believed him, and yes, it is faith because he held a lot of our lives in his hands, especially when they decided to sue him, especially when the carriers decided to terminate us and it was just America. And he called them and said, if you just stick with us, you will never ever regret it. It was the best business decision you ever make. And 11 years later, look where America's at, right? So, dude, it's so wild. But Crystal, I'm with you. I think it is a big deal because people don't trust by nature. I think they're afraid, and I do. I don't want to say I trust everybody. I have a pretty good sense of people and judgment. But all I ask is just trust us. Give us just trust me until I give you a reason not to. By the way, if I mess up, and I'm going to mess up, Crystal, I promise you it wasn't to hurt anybody. It was absolutely what I thought was best. And if it was wrong, I'll tell you. I have no problem saying, hey, I'm wrong. I screwed the pooch on that. My bad. Because we're human. Like, nobody's going to be perfect. And y'all got to understand that as team members and downlines. Like Crystal and Kendall and Crystal and Kendall are grinding, and what they're doing they think is best. Are they going to make mistakes? Yes. Nothing is ever personal. Nothing is ever geared towards hurting you. Everything is always geared to helping agents do as much as they possibly can in the numbers. Period. End of story. And if you can look at your leadership like that, y'all have no issues ever. That's how I look at Sean. Dude, he's made some bad decisions. Hell, one time he decided to go, all right, I found a lead company, but they're making us, if we want to lock them out, which we did, we have to take every county in the country, which we did. And it wasn't but like 30 of us at this point in time. And we had a draft. And we drafted counties in the country. We started, it went numbers. Who was number one? Down to 30 in the company. That was the draft order. And you drafted a county. Came back, you drafted another county. I had I don't know, 12 counties. And then the agents that we had could get counties, but we had to pay the data and then collect the money from the agents. That was a shit show. Agents would be like, hey, Frank, I ain't got it this Friday. I'll give it to you next week. After $25,000 just got yanked from my account. Agents go, yeah, I had a bad week. I'll hit you next week. I'm like, and Sean's like, dude, no matter what you do, tell him it's okay. I'm like, are you serious? You see my bank account? Tell him it's okay. We did. But that lasted for like 3 months. He was like, yeah, that was probably not a good idea. You know what I mean? But we were all like, no, that sucked. But we got through it. It wasn't like, Sean, you're such a dick. I'm broke. No, dude, we just kept working. And that's the stuff when I look at people that get a chargeback and lose their mind. I'm like, bro, you have no idea. And you don't even have to go through that stuff. You don't have to spend the $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month of legal fees. We already did that. Like, we did that. Y'all are good. We're free. We have no legal bills. Like, you're good. So can we just not complain about the small shit and make your life a lot easier? It's so much better when you're not worried about stuff and just keep working. You can control how hard you work, and that's it. When you realize that, life's pretty simple.
I just want to say
We
publicly
appreciate you.
right here, not, hey man, what do you know? Trust me. But I just want the agents to know that, I don't think they realize Kendall and we call you and Mike, right? We run things past you because you're our leaders. And yes, you have been there. So yeah, we appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. I'm gonna kick it back to Kendall.
Appreciate you too, Crystal.
Hey, Frank, I just want to say, man, thank you for getting on this call. And team, what y'all don't know
Anytime.
is 2 years ago, we this Invincible was at a crossroads. Our old mentor was out. I got a phone call from Frank, and we had a nice conversation. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to come over?" I said, "Yeah." And it's one of those things where you don't know what you're missing. Like we thought we had it good, like it was pretty good. And then when we came over here, we realized we were missing a whole lot. I don't my biggest regret, I wish we were over here sooner because I knew we would be a lot further than we are. But no, I appreciate you taking us in, man. You treat us like family from the start. And I told you we were coming for number one.
That's
Uh,
right.
I knew that, and we still coming for number one in national. So we very competitive. I am competitive, and I hopefully Crystal. I know she competitive, but we're coming to be one of the strongest legs under national. And we're gonna do it. Ain't we trying? We're going to do it.
I have
And
no doubt. Whatever I can do to help, I am all in. And here's what I would say to you, Kendall, on that. I had said that to Jamie so many times because we were at that first company for 3 years and it was a struggle. And not until I met Sean, a year into it, did it get a little bit easier, but it was still a struggle because we were at 55. Then I think we left there at 75% comp. And we had to pay a lot for leads and training. This training, they would charge you $5 to be on, which is like, it give you an idea. It's so wild. So, and I would always say to Jamie, like, dude, I wish Sean would have just hired me. But you know what? At the end of the day, it all works out the way it should work out. You know what I mean? And would you be further along? Who knows? You know what I mean? We went through some shit in 2022 when we went from mail to virtual and all that stuff. So you know what? Everything God is great. I think He controls everything, and we're right where we're supposed to be. We're just getting started. You know that we're literally just getting started. We're unrolling some stuff that's going to make everybody's life easier. Leads, we're trying to make them better. That's a never ending battle, but you guys keep doing what you do. Anything Jamie and I can do, Mike can do, we're all in. I'd love to see you be number one. I would be fired up.
yeah, I know you will be. Not too many others will be, but it's okay. I don't care.
That's right.
I'm 52 years old. I don't care.
That's right.
I don't care. So the thing is, team, I always said, you can either watch the movie or be in the movie, have a part in the movie, but either way, the movie is going to happen. And the movie is happening now. So, Frank, thank you very much. Team, don't forget to get on tomorrow morning's Morning Mindset. I got a new book of the month. I will unveil it tomorrow. Actually, I might put it in the WhatsApp tonight. And then don't forget the national call tomorrow at 6 p.m. We got a dynamic speaker. I think she's like 22, writing 88,000 a
He's a
month.
beast. Yeah.
Yeah, 22. Like Frank, did you ever think this last thing? Did you ever think that this company would shift? Like me and you, the same age, to these 20s and 19-year-olds that are crushing it.
Crazy. It's awesome. It really is awesome because I it's becoming a young man's game, which is great to see because the business is filled with old men, and they're all like, in my opinion, they're all arrogant assholes, and I think they think they're better, and that was always one of the things that drove me was some of the people that worked at the company I came from and how they spoke to people and looked down on them. And I'm like, first of all, you ain't that smart. So if you can do it, we're going to do it way better. And I'm younger than you. I'm better looking than you. So, you know what I mean? That's just how I felt. So I think it's great because, dude, anybody can do it. And 22, by the time she's 30, she could be literally have the ability to retire, which is unbelievable. Not that she will. You know what I mean? I don't know what I would do if I retired. I love what I do, but 22 is phenomenal. That's a good one. Dude, make sure you put The Noticer as one of your books of the month. I promise you it'll change people's mindset.
All right, definitely, man. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for having me on. You and Crystal. I love you guys.
Hey, love you too, man. Appreciate it, team. Thank you for
Love you
getting on
back.
tonight. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers. Enjoy the rest of this evening with your family, and we'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.